This Dark Souls 3 series covers how to do all quests and missable content in order so that all choices and rewards will be available. For best results, follow this series from the start of part 1. There will be spoilers in the form of important information, and as usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. At the end of part 8, we had just arrived at Lothric Castle. In part 9, we will be finishing all remaining questlines as well as the base game. We'll need to journey deep into Lothric Castle before collecting any important items or completing any questlines. Starting at the Dancer of the Boreal Valley Bonfire, we will climb the ladder, go forward, then down the path to the right. Beyond several nights, we will find the Lothric Castle Bonfire. From there, we'll continue moving down the main path. A chest along the way contains the prayer armor set. Up a few staircases and past several undead is the Dragon Barracks Bonfire. To get an Undead Bone Shard, we can go up the nearby staircase and begin crossing the bridge. We want to quickly drop down to the ledge below, near the end of the bridge, before we get hit by Dragonfire. There, we will find the Undead Bone Shard. We could run back to the bonfire, but it's easier to just use the coiled sword fragment we picked up earlier. While we're at it, we can make a quick stop at Firelink Shrine to burn that Undead Bone Shard. Starting once more at the Dragon Barracks Bonfire, we will move towards the bridge. This time though, we will drop down to the platform near the start of the bridge, then move left along that path. Going up a set of stairs and into a building, we can run out the other side, quickly crossing the area that is being watched by 2 dragons. In the dark building that follows, we will climb up the ladder to our right, and as a quick note, we can punch up the ladder with the light attack input. We can attack the dragon's foot here to get rid of it, but otherwise we will want to move up the wooden stairs to our right. Going into the chamber on our left, we can pull a lever there to open the main castle gate. We'll then run out the opposite side of this chamber, and we'll see a fog door, which leads to the next major boss fight. There are a couple of things that we need to do before going to that fight though. First, around to the left, we will find a lift. We can activate this lift to open up a shortcut, which will be of use later on. For now, we will move back out and to the right of the lift while facing it. There is a ladder that we will need to climb up on the other side of the building. After crossing the rooftop, we can drop down into a chamber where the Knight's Ring is found. Moving over the nearby bridge, past a red-eyed knight, we will find the Altar of Sunlight, and praying at it will unlock the Praise the Sun gesture. We can then open the nearby door from this side. Running out to the left, we will drop over the ledge to where the second dragon is rooted. Within the nearby chamber, we will find the Braille Divine Tome of Lothric. We're now ready to go complete Irina's questline, and this can be done in 2 ways. If you just want to get Irina's good ending, you can follow these next steps, but if you want to see how to get the bad ending of her quest, then watch ahead to see both options. Going back to Firelink Shrine, we'll need to speak with Irina. If we want to get her good ending, we will just give her the Braille Divine Tome of Karim and Braille Divine Tome of Lothric. We don't want to give her either the Londor or Deep Tomes. We'll then need to buy all of her spells. We should also buy her ring if we want that, as this will be our last opportunity to do so. At this point, if we exit out to the main menu and load back in, we'll find that Irina has disappeared. As a quick side note, if we want, we can go give the 2 remaining tomes we have to Carla. As mentioned before, we'll need to give her the tome twice over before she accepts it. To find Irina, we'll then need to leave Firelink Shrine and go down the path to the right. She will be found sitting in the dark, within the chamber that is behind where we fought the Swordmaster NPC. Here, she will serve the same role that the Firekeeper does back at the shrine. Doing this will also allow Eygon to be summoned for the next major boss fight. So that is the good ending for Irina's quest. If we want to get the bad ending, we will need to start by giving her both the Londor and Deep Divine tomes. We will then need to purchase one of those miracles, and make sure not to purchase all of them. After purchasing at least one dark miracle, we can then reload the area 2 times over. After doing that, Irina should be gone. Just outside of the Iudex Gundyr arena, on the way to Firelink Shrine, we will then find the crumpled form of Irina, along with a hostile Eygon. We will need to defeat Eygon and get his Great Hammer and Shield in the process. We can then speak with Irina and send her back to Firelink Shrine. Going there, we will need to buy any remaining dark miracles from Irina. Once we've done that, we can reload the game. At that point, if we speak to Irina and touch her, it will have no effect. For that, we will need to go purchase the Morn's Gauntlets from the Handmaid and equip them. With those equipped, we can touch Irina once more, and she will ask us to put her out of her misery, which is the bad ending of her questline. With that done, we can return to the Dancer of the Boreal Valley Bonfire, climb up the ladder, and take the shortcut lift we activated earlier. If we chose the good ending for Irina's quest, and we are embered, we can go into the cathedral to the right to summon Eygon for the boss fight, though personally I think the boss is actually easier when soloed. While we're waiting for Eygon to spawn, we can go up the stairs and out the door to our left to find the red Tearstone ring. Another companion that we can summon for this boss fight is Sirris, but only if we've been following her questline and accepted her into our service. As a quick warning, we want to save the souls from this boss fight. Also, don't forget about the Symbol of Avarice trick, and you can pause now to avoid boss spoilers. For everyone else, the Dragonslayer armor boss is basically a PvP fight, but against a large and super tanky opponent. He hits hard, can take a lot of punishment, and the shield is basically invulnerable to damage. Phase 2 gets a little more difficult with the Pilgrim Butterflies that start shooting fire and other projectiles throughout the fight. Still, so long as you keep that in mind and look out for those attacks, the fight is manageable. Equipping the Symbol of Avarice after the fight will net us an additional 25,000 souls, and we will be needing all of the souls from this fight for our quest. We will also get the soul of Dragonslayer armor. We can activate the bonfire that appears nearby, and there is actually a second bonfire that we should activate before moving on, just a short distance ahead. To complete Orbeck's quest, we will need to buy all of his spells. There is still one more scroll that we need to get for him, but for now, we may as well use the souls that we got from the Dragonslayer armor boss to buy all the spells that he currently has. This next part is just for those that chose the good ending for Irina's quest. Starting at the Road of Sacrifice's bonfire, we can go into the preceding chamber and take the lift up to the Undead settlement. The prison cell where Irina was initially found is just a short distance away, and we will now find Eygon there, along with his Morn's Great Hammer and Shield. Picking those up will allow us to purchase the Morn's armor set from the Shrine Handmaid. With that covered, we are ready to go back to the Grand Archive's bonfire. Right in front of the bonfire is Goddard's body. We can pick up his twin swords and the Grand Archive's key, which will allow us to open the doors ahead. As we enter, a crystal sage will appear and begin attacking. After dealing some damage to the sage, it will disappear and reappear further up in the archives. We can go to the left and follow along that path to reach a vat of wax surrounded by several Grand Archive scholars. Dipping our head in the wax will protect us from the curse-inflicting ghosts that reach out from various books throughout the archives. With that, we can move through the dark chamber to our right. There are lots of crystal lizards in this area, and most of them will drop specific gems for rare infusions. Also, watch out for the Scholar's Wax Flinging attack, as it's basically guaranteed death if you're hit. Emerging on the second floor of the archives, we can find and pull a lever between two bookcases, then go out to the balcony just behind it. A ladder is out there, and we can climb it to bypass several annoying enemies and get the drop on the Crystal Sage at their second location. We will then need to move left from here to reach the Crystal Sage's final location. Along the way, we have the option of rolling through an illusory wall to find another Outrider Knight. We can sneak up on it to get in a good first hit, and defeating it will get us the Outrider Knight armor set. There is also the Soul Stream spell nearby. Leaving this hidden chamber, we can drop down one floor to reach a large wooden bridge, which is the Sage's final location. There is also a lever to the right of the bridge, and pulling it will open a shortcut as well as let us get the Scholar Ring. In any case, we can get some extra souls when defeating the Crystal Sage by quickly equipping the Symbol of Avarice. This is also where we will get the Crystal Scroll, which is the final scroll for Orbeck. Moving across the bridge and up the stairs, we can go down the lift to our right and open a shortcut back to the Grand Archive's bonfire. Before moving on, we should return to Firelink Shrine, give Orbeck the Crystal Scroll, and purchase all of his remaining spells. We can then talk to Orbeck several times to get additional rewards, including the Young Dragon Ring, Silent Ally Gesture, and Slumbering Dragoncrest Ring. After speaking through all of Orbeck's dialogue, he should leave Firelink Shrine when we reload the area. At this point, he should be summonable for the next major boss fight. Traveling to the Grand Archive's bonfire, we can make our way back up via the recently opened shortcut. We will then proceed up the stairs to the left and through the passage that follows. Emerging from the archives, we can go through a gap in the castle wall onto the rooftops, and there will be many crystal lizards and gargoyles as we make our way through this section. Near the end of this area, we will need to drop down to a roof with a broken window nearby, which leads back into the archives. Our final Undead Bone Shard will be on a body directly along our path. There's also a ladder here that we can kick down to make another shortcut. Moving back outside, there are 3 hostile NPCs. I chose to quickly run past them and activate the lift/shortcut that goes to a spot right next to where the Grand Archives Bonfire is, and deal with the NPCs afterwards. Between those 3 enemies, we will get the Sage's Crystal Staff, the Onikiri and Ubadachi, and the Golden Wing Crest Shield. Starting from the lift that we just activated, we can make our way up the short staircase and out the double doors, then up the stairs to our left. We're going to be getting our final Estus shard here, but we may as well go grab the Hunter's Ring along the way. After grabbing that ring, we can then drop down and go to the back of this rooftop area to get our final Estus shard. Moving back towards the lifts that we recently activated, we will then move up the other set of nearby stairs to reach the final boss chamber of Lothric Castle. There are lots of annoying enemies here, and there is also a shortcut right next to the boss chamber, so I'm just beelining it to that. The shortcut is a lift, which is located to our right as we climb the final set of stairs. This lift also has a secret. If we send the lift back up and step off of it, a second lift will rise from below. We can then take that lift down to a hidden area to get another Titanite slab. At this point, we can quickly go back to Firelink Shrine to reinforce our Estus flask one last time, and burn that final Undead Bone Shard. Then go to the Dragonslayer Armour Bonfire. The shortcut we just opened up is located in the church where we found Eygon's summoning sign before the Dragonslayer armor fight. After waiting for the red-eyed knights to leave, we can head over to the small raised platform in the far right corner from the large double doors. If we completed all previous steps in Orbeck's questline, and we are embered, we should find his summoning sign here. Likewise, if we've been following Sirris' questline, her summoning sign should be found just before entering the boss chamber. Don't forget about that Symbol of Avarice trick, and you can pause now to avoid boss spoilers. For everyone else, the Twin Princes fight can seem easy or difficult depending on what moves Lorien uses and when. He has the ability to hit incredibly hard. In addition, while he doesn't attack at a very fast pace, those attacks do come at a constant and almost unending pace, which can make it difficult to get in more than one attack at a time. Patience and defensive playstyle definitely seems to be the most effective approach here. The second phase starts once we've damaged away all of Lorien's health bar. At that point, Lothric will step in to resurrect him. Lorien is much easier to defeat at this point, but he will keep getting resurrected by his brother until the younger prince has been defeated. Honestly, this is probably the easier phase of the fight. While it's best if we can double up damage to hit both Lothric and Lorien with these same attacks, we just need to keep chewing through Lorien's health and deal what damage we can to Lothric while he is resurrecting. Eventually, both of the brothers will fall. Quickly equipping the Symbol of Avarice will get us an additional 30,000 souls. We will also get the final Cinders of a Lord and the Soul of the Twin Princes. After lighting the nearby bonfire, we will fast travel to the Grand Archives bonfire and take the shortcut that we opened up right after defeating the Crystal Sage. Just up the following staircase, we will find Orbeck's body along with Orbeck's ashes. If we are doing Yuria's questline and have not angered her, we can speak with her and tell of Orbeck's death, then give Orbeck's ashes. Doing so will get us the Morion blade. Next, if we are doing Sirris' questline and accepted her into our service, we can head out of Firelink Shrine and go to the grave where we previously found the Sunset Shield. This time though, we will find Sirris' Sunless Talisman instead. Picking that up will make her armor set available for purchase from the Shrine Handmaid. On the other hand, if you refused Sirris' service or if you angered her at any point, you should find her near the Pit of Hollows bonfire instead, and you can pause now to avoid spoilers. Once she has been dealt with there, we will get her Sunless Talisman, and can still get her armor set at the Handmaid. The last quest we need to finish now is for Leonhard. Starting at the Rosaria's Bedchamber bonfire, we will find a man-grub that drops the Hazel Pick and Xanthus Crown when defeated. We'll then need to offer a Pale Tongue to Rosaria. Doing so will cause Leonhard to appear near the other side of the chamber, and we'll need to go speak through all of his dialogue. Once we've done that, we can exit out of the game and enter back in, and you can pause now to avoid spoilers. In any case, we will then need to pick up the Black Eye Orb from Rosaria and go to the Aldrich Devourer of Gods bonfire. Taking one of the nearby lifts up to the chamber where we got that one ring at, the Black Eye Orb should start quivering. We can then go to our inventory and use it to confront Rosaria's killer. After invading another world, we will need to defeat Ringfinger Leonhard. Doing so will get us Leonhard's Crescent Moon Sword and Silver Mask. We'll also get the soul of Rosaria, and you'll want to watch ahead before deciding what to do with it. If we go back to Rosaria's bedchamber and interact with her body, we will get the option to restore Soul of Rosaria. But doing this doesn't really provide any benefit, so we are probably better off just redeeming the soul at Ludolith to get the Bountiful Sunlight spell. At this point, we are ready to face the final boss. To do that, we will need to go to the various thrones at Firelink Shrine and offer Cinders of Allure at all of them, excluding that of Ludolith. Once we've done that, we can speak to the Firekeeper if we want, then go interact with the central bonfire, and you can pause until after doing that to avoid spoilers. After a cinematic plays out, we will be transported to the Kiln of the First Flame, and we can light the bonfire nearby. Going up the stairs and outside, we can interact with another coiled sword to proceed to the First Flame. There are up to 2 bonfires here, and the first one we will want to interact with is a short distance in front of us. After doing that, and if we have the Ringed City DLC installed, we can turn around and go interact with the other coiled sword. Doing so will transport us to the Dreg Heap, which is the first area of the Ringed City DLC. I'll speak more about the DLC of this game near the end of the video, but for now, let's return to the Kiln of the First Flame bonfire. From there, we will make our way up towards the final boss arena. There are up to 2 summoning signs that we can find along the way, but only if we are doing Yuria's questline, haven't angered her, and are embered. The first will be for the Londor Paleshade. It's found about halfway up the path on our right. The second is for Yuria, and it will also be on the right side of the path, just before entering the boss arena. I'm not absolutely sure if summoning her is required to get her armor set. However, I do know that if we summon her for this fight and she survives it, we will get her complete armor set for free. We can also get her armor set if she dies during the fight, it just won't be free. As a quick warning, do not interact with the Bonfire after this boss fight, as doing so will initiate one of the game's endings. Also, don't forget about the Symbol of Avarice trick, and you can pause now to avoid spoilers. For everyone else, the final boss, Soul of Cinder, makes for a flashy and somewhat dynamic fight, as they will switch between different weapons and fighting styles throughout the encounter. However, I wouldn't say it is the most difficult fight in the game. What is a little bit difficult is keeping Yuria alive throughout it, which again is not entirely necessary. With that said, to keep Yuria alive, I made sure to fight very aggressively, doing my best to keep the Soul of Cinder's attention on me and off of Yuria. The one deadly combo that the Soul of Cinder can perform is during phase 2 of the fight, after reducing the boss health bar to 0 for the first time. At that point, all of the boss's health will be restored, and they will begin fighting with a greatsword. The deadly combo is a series of uprooting swings with extremely far range that ends in a powerful AoE blast shooting out in all directions. Fortunately, this combo has an extremely telegraphed and lengthy windup, so it's pretty easy to avoid. It appears as if the Soul of Cinder is getting ready to hit a home run with his greatsword, holding it similarly to how one would hold a baseball bat. Quickly equipping the Symbol of Avarice after the fight will get us an additional 40,000 souls. We will also get the Soul of the Lords. As mentioned before the fight, we want to hold off on interacting with the nearby bonfire that appears, as that will actually initiate one of the game's endings. We will discuss endings in a moment, but first, we can return to Firelink Shrine at this point to find the Skull Ring where Ludleth once sat. In addition, if we summoned Yuria for the Soul of Cinder boss fight and made sure that she survived it, we will find her Dark Drift Katana, Built Mask, and full black armor set at her spot in Firelink Shrine. If you did not summon her for the fight, or if she did not survive it, you will need to eliminate her and pick up her Dark Drift Katana. Her black armor set can then be purchased from the Shrine Handmaid. If you know how to back up your save file, then now is a good time to do it, as there are 3 main endings to Dark Souls 3, and each comes with its own achievement. If you back up your save now, you can get one ending and achievement, restore the backup, get the next ending achievement, and so on. If you don't know how to do it, don't want to do it, or are just playing on a platform where you can't do it, then you will need to play through the game 2 more times to get all 3 endings and achievements. With that, let's discuss how to get each ending, and I'll do my best to keep it spoiler-free. The first ending we will discuss is the most difficult to get and requires completing Yuria's questline. Completing that questline will mean that we have 8 Dark Sigils in our inventory. With that, we can interact with the Bonfire in the Soul of Cinder boss arena to link the first flame. Doing this would normally get us the default game ending and achievement, but because we have 8 Dark Sigils, we will instead get the Usurpation of Flame ending and achievement. If I had to choose just one ending to pick for my first playthrough, then this would be the one. Also, as a quick heads up, I will be spoiling this ending at the very end of the video. Next, if you want to get the standard or default ending but you have 8 Dark Sigils, you will need to have the Firekeeper heal the Dark Sigil first. This is likely to be extremely expensive at this point. In any case, if we link the first flame while we have less than 8 Dark Sigils in our inventory, we will get the To Link the First Flame ending and achievement. The final ending is only available if we gave the Eyes of a Firekeeper to the Firekeeper, which we covered in this walkthrough. If that is the case, a gold sign should appear on the ground near the Soul of Cinder bonfire. Also, I recommend watching ahead here if you want to know about a secret 4th ending to the game. That said, it does not have a related achievement, and it does entail spoilers. In any case, interacting with that sign will allow us to summon the Firekeeper, which will lead to the End of Fire ending and achievement. Now let's talk about the secret 4th ending. Before I show anything, I'll say that near the end of the scene that follows our summoning of the Firekeeper, we will have a very brief window of control over our character. It's in that couple of seconds that we will need to strike down the Firekeeper to get the secret alternate version of this ending. Even knowing about it, I missed the window of opportunity the first time around. If you don't want to see it in this video and you want to give yourself the best opportunity to get it, then just make sure to press the light attack input repeatedly while the cinematic is playing out. You can pause now for spoilers as I'm going to show how to do it. It is right around this part where the camera pans back into position behind our character, and the Firekeeper says, "Like embers linked by lords past." I'm going to pause it right there so that I don't spoil more than is necessary, but a whole new cinematic will play out, and it's kind of brutal. With that said, doing this doesn't actually change the game in any significant way, and the Firekeeper will still be alive at Firelink Shrine after the fact. Whatever ending we do choose, the game will ask us if we immediately want to begin Journey 2, also known as New Game Plus. We don't want to do this as there are several things we may want to do before starting the game over, and we can always begin Journey 2 at the Firelink Shrine Bonfire whenever we want. So with that, let's talk about some things to do before New Game Plus now. First, all of our hard work and exploration has resulted in the Shrine Handmaid getting a bunch of unique armor sets, which we may want to purchase for Fashion Soul purposes. Also, she will have a single Titanite slab available for purchase after beating the final boss. Next, we did need to purchase all of Irina's miracles for her quest and all of Orbeck's spells for his. That being said, we never needed to purchase any of Cornyx's or Carla's spells for their quests, so we probably should do that now, before New Game Plus. It might be worth seeing what Greyrat has for sale too. In addition, now is a good time to redeem at least one of the 2 rewards for each of our unique boss souls, the ones that have been steeped in strength. Some of these rewards are rings or spells, and those are needed for certain completionist achievements, which I will talk about in a moment. One of the remaining achievements that is not so difficult to get is Master of Infusion, which requires performing all forms of infusion. Following this guide, we should have unlocked all forms of infusion at Andre. And if you've been doing some exploring on your own and have been defeating all crystal lizards you've come across, then you ought to have at least one of each gem required to do all of those infusions. If not, a quick internet search will show you where to get them. This guide also covered how to get all gestures for the Master of Expression achievement. That being said, this guide did not show how to get all gestures in a single playthrough, as doing so would have interfered with Sirris's quest. The one gesture you are most likely missing is the proper bow gesture, which is obtained by summoning Yellowfinger Hazel before the Abyss Watchers fight. You will need to get that in New Game Plus to get the Master of Expression achievement. Also, as a quick Easter egg, the Firekeeper will actually react to many gestures that are performed in front of her, so that's pretty neat. Real quick, let's talk about the 4 or 5 achievements that I won't be covering in this guide and why. Those achievements are Master of Sorceries, Pyromancies, Miracles, and Rings. The Dark Soul achievement is also included here as it requires getting all other achievements. Getting those achievements requires obtaining all rings and spells in just the base game, not the DLC. Even so, this involves several grindy tasks. First, we would need to raise our standing with nearly all covenants, most to max level. Here is the summary of all covenants, their rewards, and the items required to raise our standing with them. Credit to Fextralife for this image. How to join each of these covenants, as well as the location of all of their altars or leaders, was covered in this series. That being said, getting these specific items to raise our standing with each covenant will often involve a lot of farming specific mobs over and over again for hours, and that just does not sound like a fun time to me. I'm also fairly certain that most of these items could be obtained through certain PvP scenarios, but again, that can take hours. Finally, the Master of Rings achievement requires getting all 107 rings in the base game. This includes the +1 and +2 variants of rings that can only be found in New Game Plus and New Game Plus, aka Journey 2 and Journey 3. Personally, I'm really glad the devs over at From Software decided to remove these types of achievements from Elden Ring because they seem like pure torture for obligate completionists. In any case, I hope you all understand why I chose to leave those achievements out of this guide series. The last thing I would like to speak about are the 2 DLCs, those being the Ashes of Ariandel and the Ringed City. I still need to play through both of them, but from what I've heard, they are relatively linear and straightforward to complete when compared to the base game. They also explain and expand upon a lot of interesting lore in the Dark Souls world. So even though playing them will not get you any achievements, it is totally worth playing through each of them before going to your next journey or New Game Plus, at least the first time around. Finally, once we are ready to start New Game Plus, we can rest at the Firelink Shrine Bonfire and select Begin Journey 2 or 3 or whatever journey we might be on. I want to thank you all for joining me on this journey through Dark Souls 3. I know it has been out for many years at this point, but hopefully this guide series has helped new fans and returning fans get the most out of their time with what I still consider to be an absolute masterpiece of a game. If you're having any trouble or need some clarification on what was covered in this video, you can reach out to me in the comments where I will do my best to help. If I have time to cover the 2 DLCs for Dark Souls 3, I will be doing so in a Part 10 and Part 11 of this guide series. If that turns out to be the case, you'll find those videos over on my channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat. Her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day. If you're here today, have a great Monday and a great week. And as always, thanks for watching.